welcome to episode 2 of Beneath the Cowl. I'm here with some illustrious cosplayers, and we're going
Yo,
to talk some of the best and worst movies of 2022.
Jesse.
Welcome.
What's that smoke I see?
welcome.
Some incense?
I'm Cosplays by Shinobi. I'll be hosting, and let's go around the room and introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Dork Nugget.
Who's gonna
Hi.
start? Wake
I'm
up, y'all.
Yeah. I'm Dork Nugget. I go by Alex, though. Next.
I'm Jake. You guys know me as Foggy Night. Whoop whoop.
I'm Kaish Black. Y'all know me as hashtag KBlack Cosplay, also known as Kai.
Yes.
What up,
Mo.
Blackbeard? Oh, no,
Oh.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Dom?
I
Is that
yield the
Dom?
floor.
Rehearse this.
Beauty before age, man. Beauty before age. Go.
Hey.
Oh,
All right. The Blackbeard Dad, what's up, y'all?
And I guess I'm Anthony from Cosplay Alliance. If everyone has seen me yet or met me yet.
Dominican Night Cosplay, aka Mo.
So let's get this thing started. I'm sure there are going to be some hot takes,
Ooh, spicy. Let's go.
some spicy takes here. So we're going to start with the DC League of Super Pets. Thoughts on that movie?
phenomenal movie. Deserves an
Loved
Oscar.
it. It was
Yeah, I loved it.
adorable.
It was cool. It hit me a little harder than I was expecting going into it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Good storyline.
it pulled on my heartstrings for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I took a box of tissues in there when I went in.
Yeah, the when the Kevin Hart's talking about his his story of how he became like a rescue dog, I was just like, oh no. No, but it was cool. I mean, it's a nice. I thought it was a refreshing take on the Justice League and kind of its own little spin, and gave some of the lesser like Crypto and Ace, and they've been around for a while, but usually don't get much attention. So it was cool that they got the little moment, and Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson together is always pretty solid combo. So I enjoyed it.
I was gonna chime in on that as well. I love The Rock and Kevin Hart together in every movie that they do. They go together like peanut butter and jelly for sure.
Mhm.
Like I definitely love seeing them in anything together. They play off one another, and I've never really seen The Rock is funny, but he is funny when he's standing next to Kevin Hart for sure.
They kind of remind me of Will Ferrell and the guy from Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they kind of
sure.
bounce
Like
off
and
each
like
other.
play
like
off
that.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I loved it, and I liked all the little punts, and and me being a Superman fan, I'm gonna automatically love it because my guy was in it, and then my guy's pet was in it. So I like to see Crypto get his shine, and it was a movie that I felt like adults could appreciate it as well as kids. So to me, it had a good crossover.
I really enjoyed it too, and I really enjoyed that the humans couldn't understand the pets. So the animals, so they're talking to the humans, and humans are, a little cute dog, whatever. Well, this pet is actually like threatening you right now.
I feel like that's really what happens in real life.
Yeah,
I feel like pets be like, "I'm gonna kick your ass," or "I'm gonna tear your shit up when we get home," and like we just have no idea what they're saying.
All right, so I'm going to ask a question about the movie because I actually haven't seen this one or the next one we're going into. But this movie right here, was it more for like, did it have like the adult humor in it? Was it like kind of like Zootopia meets like Frozen, or like is it more like a?
No, it was more adult.
More like a
grown I
grown
think.
up. Okay.
I think it's kind of more. I caught it as like not as legendary as Shrek, but what I mean in that is there is some adult humor like jokes that your kids won't understand, but like as an adult you'll appreciate. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. And they just like subtly throw it in there every now and again. And they joke with the superheroes too. Like I was gonna say, like Keanu Reeves is Batman, and like the way, like some of the monologue he did, it was great.
Got it.
Yeah, I got to give props actually to the voice acting in it. Like for me particularly, it didn't strike a chord with me, but I'm not to say that it was bad. It just didn't resonate with me. But having Keanu Reeves play Batman was a very interesting choice, and it was one of those things where it's just like you don't know you need that until you get it, and then you're just like, I'm down for that. That's cool. That's cool as hell. And he's just like, and he's just like, that better be a merchandise choice, a toy, or I will freak.
To be honest, I've always seen Keanu as playing a live action Batman. Just because the way just the way his emotionless acting, even from the
I can
John Wick,
see that.
I can see that.
And listen, after Mr. Cedric, I think anyone can play Batman at this point.
I'm still waiting for John Hamm. That's my dream Batman right there.
DC does a good job.
You killed my
animated
dog.
wise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Animation, DC. We can appreciate DC's animation.
Yeah.
Now cinematically, that's another story.
Just not the CW shows, all right? That's another discussion, right?
Yeah.
I don't hate the CW show.
Look, the Arrow and the Flash started out pretty good.
Listen, okay, I know we're not talking about
okay.
that, but
I need y'all to put some.
Arrow and Flash did start out very good. Very good.
I need y'all to put some respect on CW.
No, facts.
Because
You say Supergirl
Smallville
was good.
Well, no, Supergirl was terrible in my opinion.
Smallville, yeah.
Hold up. Whoa,
Smallville.
pause.
So DC starts off good on CW,
Yeah, Smallville
but
is
they
great.
do not end good. Like they always
Facts.
fall off in like whatever random season they get tired of writing and bringing.
Yeah, I will.
Imaginative.
I will agree. I started off actually. I didn't watch Arrow because I mean I just didn't have any sort of connection to the character. But I started watching Flash, and Flash I liked, and then it got to a point where I was just like, this is sort of the same thing. Like,
But
just
that's
rinse,
every
wash.
That's all of
show.
them.
Yeah.
That's every CW show.
Yeah.
I can't recall one where it's like the whole series was just amazing.
True. Okay.
Like even me being a Superman fan, like the Smallville, let's just be honest, it falls off around 8, 9. It like they needed to just stop.
Smallville betrayed me, man. Smallville betrayed me. I was ready for them to take the character and actually I had invested
and do
so
something
many,
with it. No,
yeah, I invested
too
like
high
close
of
to
a-
10 years of my life, and at the end of it, all I get is a little open shirt at the end. I was just like, y'all done did me dirty.
Have you watched Lois and Clark? I haven't seen it yet.
I heard it was pretty good.
It's
pretty
pretty
good.
refreshing. Yeah, it's a good take.
I'm behind on it.
I have it, but I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised for that show. They've done a good job.
Yeah,
I got through season 1. I loved it. I loved how it started. Like I said, I'm behind, but I'm gonna get back into it. But like I said, DC wise on CW, it's not bad. Like if anybody says it's bad, cap. But like I can't say that they finish strong. They don't finish strong.
So it gets bad.
They don't see the
It starts
landing.
good and gets bad.
I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah,
Lois and Clark, I would love if it was Brandon Routh as Superman, not Tyler does a great job, but if they could bring Brandon Routh back and put him as Superman in that show, it would be.
It is really hard for me to see Tyler.
It really is.
It really is. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a fan of Brandon either. I actually think I dislike Brandon more than I dislike Tyler. But
everybody's got their own Superman. Everybody's got their own Superman.
I mean Henry's Superman. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
I mean Henry is amazing. I hope actually, and I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves from movie wise, but I really hope that they
keep him on.
That they stop this sort of musical chairs of characters and keep Henry around, because I think actually if they give him more to do, I think he will continue to be an amazing Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, moving on. Sonic
is a good movie.
I liked it.
The kid in me loved it. Like the kid in me, the video game player.
Nostalgia galore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I also loved Idris Elba as Knuckles. Like, the voice, man, there was just so much power in the voice. And it really, if you know how he changes his voice, it makes you appreciate it even more. Because he's British. So like he's mastered like changing his voice up, and oh man, he did it.
Yeah, we gotta give a shout out to Idris for that one, right there, Chris?
Yep.
Knuckles had major Black Air Force One energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I just love Idris Elba. I didn't even know he was in that movie. Now I gotta go watch it just because it's Idris.
Oh yeah, Sonic is. If you ever played the games, you'll love it.
I'm on the younger side, but there was still Sonic around in all the Nintendo games when I was around. I just never got into it. I never got into like Pokemon, anything like that. I was just strictly superheroes at the time. So I might.
do my boy Tails
How
justice?
young are you?
Yo, I got so
I'm trying
pumped.
to think now. I'm 22. I'm 22. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm a
you're a
baby.
baby.
I'm
You're
a
a
baby,
baby.
guys. Everybody knows this. But no, like I grew up on all the comics and all of the TV shows from the 90s, but I never got into like the gaming side of things.
Right.
So that's what my boyfriend is trying to do because they're also opening a Nintendo World at the new Universal Park they're building. So he's like excited to go, and I'm like, what's a Luigi? What's a Mario? Okay, sure, yeah, okay. What's a Sonic? Okay, cool. But if Idris Elba is in that movie, then
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
I might just have to watch it now.
What was the best part of that movie for those who saw it?
Huh?
Knuckles? I said, what was the best part of that movie for those who saw it?
It was Knuckles for me, actually. Yeah.
I would say actually the Robotnik robot at the end. It was because if you play the game and you get to that level and you're having to fight against a big giant Robotnik, I was just like, they just pulled it straight from the game.
Yeah.
And it was that. It was actually,
My favorite part was Shadow.
Oh,
Shadow's like my favorite, my favorite character.
After credit scene, yeah. I'm gonna say Knuckles for sure. I mean, because he was solid from beginning to end. They did a really good job putting his character together. But I have such appreciation for Jim Carrey. Like we cannot skip over Jim Carrey's. Like,
he's one of the goats. He's one of the goats.
Rendition of that role, because when you think of Robotnik, I mean, although he's not fat like the video game, but he like, if I had to envision the character come to life, Jim Carrey did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And they got everybody in this cast.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Lord.
Which would be interesting to see who they decide to cast as the voice of Shadow, because that's, you got somebody like Idris to play Knuckles. Like, where do you go?
They need to have a hitter. They need to have a hitter. Yeah.
They're gonna have to get that the dude who voices Kratos.
He has his own battles right now, trying to play Kratos. he's not his battles right now. Yeah.
Just somebody with a nice, deep presence in their voice.
Off topic, but who do you prefer as Kratos' voice? Like the original voice actor, or him, or the new one? Because I like the original one better.
They both do such a good job.
They do, and actually, and it feels like if you play the game through the series, it feels like they are perfect for the voices for the stage in Kratos' life where he's at.
That part,
I feel like if you're playing these last two, that sort of aged,
he went through puberty more.
The
ruggedness of his voice is just
feel it. You feel like that's the guy that you feel like that's a dad. Like, whereas the other Kratos, you feel like, this is not a guy who's a dad. This is a guy who's who's a lot younger, a lot more angry. The other voice, Christopher Judge does a voice that it sounds like a dad. It sounds like boy, you don't get your stuff straight.
Do better, boy.
Do better. But no, I think they did a great job. I think actually to me it's almost similar, I would say, to Metal Gear having Kiefer Sutherland versus I can't remember the voice actor's name. Like, his voice is really iconic for Snake, but then you listen to Kiefer Sutherland and you're like, okay, cool, I can see that too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, at least it's not like a drastic change. It wasn't like you're like going
Mario.
From yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice until I read it that it was a different voice actor. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you just grew up.
So moving on to our Next topic of discussion: Morbius, in which the fans convinced the studio to put out the movie one more
Again.
time.
I was not part of
Oh,
that fan group.
don't mind me. I'm just dropping stuff.
Can you
Oh,
My
can you have a Morbius movie without Spider-Man? I mean, they did it, but
I,
Is he from a comic standpoint? I don't know anything about Morbius. From a
That's the
comic
thing. So
standpoint,
same.
is he traditionally linked to Spider-Man?
Oh yeah,
yes,
very
Mhm.
much
yes,
so.
very much
yes.
so. His
Yeah.
origin
His
is
origin
is
I mean,
is
to me, the only character that would make any sense, obviously, is Spider-Man. That I would even be is Blade. He's the only other
Yeah.
one where I'd be like, okay,
true.
like I could at least somewhat wrap my head around that, but if not both,
So why?
but
So why do you think Sony Marvel, because they're not the same? Let's be clear. Why do we think Sony even brought that up for a discussion? Like, who was in the room and said we should make a Morbius movie?
I think
uh,
it's just like they're desperate to cling on to any Spider-Man attention, and for Spider-Man fans who know
yeah.
Morbius is like attached to them, they know it's gonna tease the
I
hell out
mean,
of Spider-Man fans. So
Well, this is
that
also part of it too. They made a Venom movie that
I was
made
about
$1
to
billion.
say, yeah, they had
yeah,
success off
So
of Venom.
it's all they don't care about. Oh, this is
they
makes sense. They see dollars and like, oh, we can build all.
yeah,
It's the same as if
that's
that's
Superman
the
made a Lex Luthor movie or Batman. It's a Joker movie. It's
yeah.
just trying to pull the money from that character
And see,
box office wise.
that's been also the
I'm
problem
happy
with
you said that because I'm gonna mention that later.
because that's like that's what Marvel's been doing recently, and that's the reason why they also have to like release that statement saying, "Hey, we're going to be focusing on quality over quantity now." Because at this point, I felt like once Disney bought Marvel, I was like, okay, but the moment things started going downhill for a lot of characters and all the stories, I was like, okay, I feel like we're just doing this for money rather than actual care for the fans and care for the characters. And that's what I feel like Sony's doing with all these Marvel villains, Spidey villain standoffs like Morbius, which I've not
I
seen
don't
yet.
yeah,
I
they're
don't
they're
so much agree with that when it comes to Marvel. I think Marvel has done an excellent job bringing characters that didn't mean shit to nobody,
Oh yeah.
I
true.
agree.
bringing them to the forefront and making people love them.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
Um,
think
think
yeah.
I think
but I
actually like
do.
for
I
more.
mean,
I'm
let's
sorry.
just.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go, I'm sorry. You finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, but I was just saying. I do think that She-Hulk was a fail.
Yeah.
Most definitely, and I hate to say that. I do think that She-Hulk was a fail, but everything else that Marvel has done, I mean, was received very well. I wasn't a fan of Moon Knight, but a lot of people love Moon Knight.
That was great.
Yeah,
Love that one.
Um, and
I
it,
just thought it could have
point
been a
period.
little
What I would
longer.
say about Morbius though, the Jared Leto as the actor, I don't think there's a role that Jared Leto like cannot just actually indulge himself into and get a little bit crazy with acting. I
Yeah.
think he did play the role very well.
I think they just had that was an opportunity for me that they had. That was the easiest sort of character that you can take and make a standalone movie. I was a little. I didn't understand them doing a Venom movie without Spider-Man. I felt like that felt more linked because Venom's origin is very much like you could separate Morbius and put some other characters around it and still work. With Venom, I'm just sort of like, even his look aesthetically looks like Spider-Man. So I'm just like, you disconnecting it doesn't make a lot of sense. But hey, it made a whole mess of money. But I feel like with Morbius, I think Sony they should have they could have actually they had the easiest job in taking that character and making that character work,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. They could have actually taken that character and done something that hasn't been done in any comic book movies. Make a honest to God rated R horror movie. Just
Yep.
make a rated R horror movie. That's a
Yep.
that's a perfect character for you to do that with. And if you get a lot of the cross sections, you get the cross section of people who love horror. You can actually take advantage of the fact that rated R comic book movies like Logan and Deadpool have come before, so at least you can get an audience in there. and they, they were, and again, it was actually, I think, more trying to, trying to get as much money as they could, and really, when you're talking about movies, for a mass audience, it's easier to quote unquote think, well, I'm going to get more money if it's a PG-13 because I can get more kids in the seats than I can actually if it's a rated R movie. That movie needed to be rated R. Let's call it what it is. That movie needed to be
Venom. How do you make a Venom movie and not like, oh my god, when he bit homeboy head off?
That's
but Venom still made a whole mess of money, and that's just it. That's the weird thing about it, is that Venom still, with the rating that it had, and them doing the cutaway as oh, we're not going to show you the gore, still made $1 billion.
Yeah.
So I
have a feeling if Venom didn't perform well, Morbius wouldn't have happened.
Oh no, agreed. I would agree with that.
See, when I saw the Morbius trailer, I was actually kind of excited because of how scary it looked and how rated R
it played
appeared.
To make it look a lot darker than what it was.
That and I refused to watch it. And I don't think I ever will, just because of everything that I've seen already regarding the movie.
Okay.
I've seen enough.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So I watched the movie despite all of the things. Like I watched it when it went on Netflix.
Me too.
I watched it recently. So for me, I never take what fans and what everybody else is saying or deeming good or not good or whatever the case may be. I always like to formulate my own opinion. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't hate it. Like I don't feel like it should have gotten the reputation that it got. It like people was talking about that movie like it was the worst Marvel movie ever put out. Like so many memes, everything came from this movie. And to me, it wasn't that bad. To me, the storyline was pretty solid. Don't get me wrong, I think the execution could have been better, but it wasn't a bad movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it's one of those movies that you watch one time, you're like, okay, that was okay, and then you never watch it again. Like, you don't buy it on DVD, but it wasn't a bad movie.
I thought the same thing for actually Venom too. I mean, they got a horrible reputation for the first Venom, and actually, I didn't hate it, enjoyed it actually. Tom Hardy is awesome.
I just remember like digging a little bit to kind of get a sense of like how the storytelling was gonna go, and I can't remember much of it, but all I remember was just going, okay, so Kai, I feel like you're about to make me eat my own words this week. I'm gonna go watch it on the way down tomorrow.
I'm just saying, make your own opinion, because I heard so many bad opinions about it, and I watched it myself, and I was like, that wasn't bad.
And it's funny, I heard the same thing about New Mutants, and New Mutants, I didn't hate it, actually. I watched it, and I was just like, but I think the worst sin that Morbius, I didn't hate Morbius.
Me either.
I was more upset of the fact that it was a mediocre movie, and that to me is the worst sin than being a bad movie. A bad movie you can potentially watch, and it's a bad movie, and you can be like, this movie sucks. It's like Sharknado. You know Sharknado. You know what you're getting into when you watch Sharknado.
Yeah.
So it's so bad that you can actually ridicule.
Whoa! Sharknado was great, bro. Don't hate on my Sharknado like that, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can watch a movie that's so bad it's good, but it's a worse sin to have a movie that's mediocre. That you watch it and you're just like, it's coloring it's staying in the lines. It's coloring. This is gonna happen like this, and then the other worst part.
But let's be honest, most movies are mediocre. If we're really
no, I'm not going to disagree that point with you, but I feel like there should be some enjoyment in it. Like for me, if I can walk out of a movie theater saying I enjoyed that, that's at the end of the day, whether the storyline was weak, whether the acting was weak. If I walked out of it enjoying it, I'd be like, hey man, perfect. A perfect example is I just went and saw Violent Night. I'm not going to tell you that movie's going to win any Oscars, but it's an entertaining movie. You have a good time watching it. And that's, to me, that's if you can beat that threshold. I sat through Morbius and I sat there and I was just sort of like, okay.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to comic book movies, it's there's a level of expectations that everyone has. Whether you're biased about the comic or not. I think that when you have that expectation for that movie, and it doesn't live up to that, that's when it gets that whole...
Yeah, I have to like turn off my brain sometimes when I go into movies, because I know that they're in. Funny enough, I met Nolan North at Dragon Con, and he asked me how Uncharted went, and I was like, and he gave me a good piece of advice. He says that a lot of the times movies aren't going to be exactly like source material out of a creative element, and then also out of respect because they don't want to, mess up the original story. So they'll take their own like creative freedom with it. And I feel like with a lot of movies, I've just had to, especially like Thor: Love and Thunder, which I'll bring up again later, I've just had to go in and detach myself from my expectations and just, again, form my own opinion and then walk out and see how I feel about it. And that's allowed me to enjoy a lot of movies that are
to kind of
gone
piggyback. Yeah, to piggyback. I mean, for me, same. I didn't think it was a dumpster fire like everybody said it was. I think for me, and I feel like, I think what you were trying to say is I didn't do it, but I think the frustration is when you feel like a studio doesn't understand the tone that character needs.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, even what, Alex is saying, like, we don't want to mess up. Well, if you're worried about stores in it, then you shouldn't be making that movie because you need to understand what you're making. Because really doing a disservice is doing stuff like that of not understanding the tone of what that character is. What kind of world is that? You don't make a whatever without a Spider-Man. Like that's not that character. Like you gotta, like you can do that with, like people know Venom. You know what I mean? Like Morbius, people are like, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? But on the hindsight too, we're also it's crazy to think, but like we're in the minority of people who read comic books and understand the world, where the normal people they don't know that. So for them it's just like, hey, a vampire movie, Marvel, okay, cool, and that's how they go into these things. So you got to kind of keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
But for me,
and also people don't know how to distinguish the difference between the different layers. We went through a time in which Marvel didn't. I mean, we're still in a time. Marvel doesn't own all of their characters. Universal, like there's so many characters that belong to other studios, and studios had those rights and they made those movies, and they're not even related, have anything to do with what we now know as the MCU. So people just see Marvel and they're like, oh my God, Marvel Comics, and it's like, no, that's Marvel and this is Marvel Studios, like, or that's Sony and this is Disney, like. So a lot of people, if you're not in this realm or in it the way that we're in it, then it's really hard to decipher the difference and know the difference between the characters.
The other sad part to me is actually how you can have something like Sony. This is the same house. This is the people living in the same house can have Into the Spider-Verse living in
I
knew
you were about to say
that. And then actually Morbius living in another room. How is it possible that you can take and have something be so almost like, I mean, out of that movie in itself, Into the Spider-Verse, is probably by far, I think, one of the best comic book movies ever. Period. Hard stop for me. And so it's amazing to me how they can go ahead and take another piece of material. Like right now, they're making they're still filming Kraven and they're filming Madam Web, and I'm like, why?
But you're saying this, and we've been enduring DC's bullshit for years. And I've been saying for years, how do y'all get the animated movies right? And you can't do it cinematically. It's the same damn story. So, I mean, you got to think about it. It's Marvel and it's DC, but DC's been doing this for years. I don't know who's in the room. I don't know who's in this room and who's in this room.
Obviously, it's not any of us. We ain't in the room.
We fix it all. Give us like 10 minutes.
I think part of it for me that's frustrating is that they are trying to put these characters in the MCU, like Venom, and they're trying to incorporate this.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're trying to
because that's why you put Michael Keaton in there.
Exactly. So we're like,
Marvel Studios, you better find a different Vulture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at the very least, like if you're gonna go ahead and do that, be like, listen, Feige, can I get? I mean, I know you're gonna let me borrow some whatever. Can I borrow some of them writers too? Can I go ahead and actually move them over here so we can collaborate on this? Because I feel like they had the opportunity that movie Morbius should have been let's take a shot at doing a honest to God horror movie. Let's take a shot at doing that and let's see. And if it fails, great. You failed, but you wouldn't be any worse than where you are right now. And granted, I realize hindsight is 2020, but you could have at the very least presented a very unique, not since Blade, because Blade was rated R, not since Blade, bring to this generation a horror movie where you take a character, and spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't seen this movie, but to be honest, you probably don't need to see it anyway. I mean, unless you want to. I'm sorry, Alex, maybe you should. But if you take a character and you nerf them by saying, oh, this person, I'm sorry, I have to spoil this. It's a minor spoiler.
You're good.
You say, hey, we're going to give you a MacGuffin by saying, hey, this is actually, there's blue blood, and you can sort of keep your cravings in check with this. I'm like, you're nerfing the character. The whole point of this character is a struggle. You can't give this person a character a crutch and not just let it be like, hey, man, he can't survive unless he drinks blood.
And see,
they did that in a cartoon in the 90s for Spider-Man with kids under 10, and they said that.
And see, that's another thing that like Marvel has been doing a lot lately. It's like, and this is what I was talking about, how some characters have been going downhill. Marvel, and I've noticed a lot in it was weird. Phase 4, it was like I saw what I wanted and then I didn't see what I wanted, and that is, we've seen a lot of characters like Bruce Banner, like Thor, even Natasha Romanoff, be kind of disregarded in their serious and darker matters, especially in She-Hulk. Thing is, in She-Hulk, they got the essence of Jen Walters perfectly. Everything else was just I don't know if I can cuss on this thing, so I'm gonna just, what the heck. Because regarding Bruce Banner specifically, now, listen, I know they're owned by another studio, but it's like after about Age of Ultron, Bruce Banner as a character went downhill, and then he was completely mutilated in She-Hulk. And then in Thor, it's just they don't want to address serious matters and bring in serious or darker themes. But then also in Phase 4, we saw some of those serious and darker themes, especially in the the TV show series, and then of course in Multiverse of Madness. So I'm just like, it's almost like they're afraid to stray away and do something unique, which is what they should have done with Morbius. And I thought that's what they were going to do.
Hot take, I loved She-Hulk. Hot take. Hot take right now. I love that show.
I enjoy it. I would say I
love that show. I love that show. I mean,
It
overall, subverted expectations for me.
Overall, the show was great. It's just some of the side characters, it's just like a waste of opportunity. Like, Blonsky, for God's sake, that's the Abomination. That's supposed to be something terrifying. And I thought they were maybe like playing around with us, and then they were going to have him snap or something. But it just, Titania, I liked the take on Titania. I wasn't mad at it. It was entertaining. But then it was just like, and then just everything to do with Bruce, I'm just sat here like, the Hulk mythos overall needs to be fixed, and I'm hoping that's what they're going to focus on in the new Captain America
Bring
movie.
back Edward.
Yeah.
When I saw Hulk get absolutely annihilated and thrown by a Jeep, I was like, okay, this is the Hulk. A planet could like not move him, and a Jeep did. Okay.
I mean,
that's when I was out. I was like, I'm out.
And the whole Ragnarok movie is a Hulk story. That was the World War Hulk story. That wasn't supposed to be about Thor at all. So it's just like, and that's a very dark story alone. And I get it because really we don't have So I'm just sat here like, that's what I'm talking about when they start going downhill and start only kind of focusing on, what's going to appeal to, the fast trends. I feel like Marvel, not so much recently, especially with Wakanda Forever, they really hit the nail on the head and gone back to their roots and their, true sources. But lately I've just been feeling like, okay, we're making movies no longer for the actual comics. It's just, whatever is trending at the time, which has been comedy forever. And it's just oversaturated things. And I was really excited when I saw Morbius because I was like, okay, this looks scary. This looks new. This looks different. This looks like it's going to be actually unique and interesting. And then lo and behold, I never got around to it because of everything that I heard story-wise from spoilers and then also other people's reactions. So it just sucks. It feels like a wasted opportunity.
I feel like Marvel has set the tone for movies, and that's why DC can't make a proper movie right now. I feel like the audience is not ready for dark movies at all.
Well,
except for Batman.
I was about to say,
the Dark Knight trilogy.
Let's move on to a good DC movie in the Batman.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Everything except for that long, drawn out chase scene. It was great.
The fact that we got Catwoman back on screen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
it took me 2 viewings to appreciate that movie. The first viewing, and this is a true story. I was sitting in the theater with a friend of mine and his neighbors, and they walked out of the movie. They flat out walked out of it.
Wow.
And they
were expecting to see the Dark Knight,
and they were, and that was it. So when I the first time I watched it, I was sort of like, my reaction was meh. The second time I was able to appreciate it a little bit more, because I think the first time I was watching it with a very uber critical sort of like da, 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 da. And the things I appreciated about it was how it played out like a comic book. The things that I didn't appreciate about it was how a lot of it felt derivative of the Nolan movies. Like the let's make it gritty, and make it real and all this other stuff. Like there's a part of me that's like, I have to give credit, even if it's actually sort of a criticism at the same time to Zack Snyder and like his vision of Batman, because that's a comic book Batman. He's blowing up and flying around all over the place. Like he's like all these. We've seen a gritty Batman, and we've seen a real world Batman. I feel like at this point I want to see some fantasy Batman. I want to see Clayface kind of stuff. I want to see the ridiculous aspects of Gotham, not the, hey, we're back to he's fighting crime lords and all this other stuff. Not to say, again, that's not a criticism of the movie. The movie itself, I enjoyed. I mean, there were certain aspects I can give or take that I hope get addressed and evolve in the next one. But overall, that was the reason my first reaction to that was because I was just like, I've seen real Batman in the Nolan movies. That was their whole thing. Their whole thing was, this is a Batman, a grounded. This is what Batman was in the real world. And I think somebody at one point had said that the Nolan movies are what if Batman was in the real world, and this movie is more like what if Batman was in the real world, if that makes any sense. Like what if Batman was in the real world versus take a real world Batman and put him into the real world kind of thing. It was some kind of comparison like that, and it was pretty close and on the nose.
I'll piggyback off that and say I had the same kind of judgments, especially with why am I forgetting his name? Robert Pattinson's Batman. But the one thing that saved me was, this is beginning Batman. He's been Batman for 2 years, and I have to tell myself, back in the comics, he was an edgelord to the gods. So what I'm holding on to hope is that we're gonna explore more than just the gritty side and the organized crime, because that's what I absolutely loved about this movie, is the fact that it really captured the essence of Gotham and then the underground organized crime in the underworld. So I was really, really appreciative of that. It was just overall the storytelling was amazing. It made sense completely, and character portrayals were pretty good. But I'm ready to see Poison Ivy throw some vines around again, Clayface. I'm ready to see Mr. Freeze come back again, and I'm hoping that we'll explore that a little bit more in the second movie, because I know at the very end we got to see a little. Was it Joker? I think it was that or Hush.
Yeah,
was it Joker?
It was Joker.
He looked.
I got thoughts on that.
just the very, and I hope we don't focus on Joker again. I hope we get to be exposed to more Batman villains. But with what they do with this movie, I have confidence that if they do explore the more dramatic side of Gotham and the more theatrical side of Gotham, and kind of find a good balance of mixing the two elements together, we're gonna have some pretty good movie building and universe building with just Batman alone. So I'm really excited for that.
Y'all ready for some hot takes?
Ooh.
Ready?
Okay, wait. Let's go.
All right. First off, this was my second favorite movie of the year, like, hands down, of any movie, not just comic book movie, but period. I loved. To me, this was, and especially if you've seen anime, this was Batman Year One meets Batman: The Long Halloween. This is exactly what that was. I loved the tone of it. To me, this was the most Batman movie I've seen. I mean, people have always been like, "We want to see the detective. We want to see the detective." This was a detective movie. This was literally. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Seven with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
That's what I was talking about.
This was that.
It was that, yeah.
And it was so dark. The music was spectacular. The actors. What I loved about it too was Batman, because we've seen he was Batman in the suit 95% of the movie. You're getting Batman. Like, I don't care about Bruce Wayne. I don't want to see whatever. And I get, like, some of the people were like, "Oh, he's emo," but you see at the end of the movie, you see that evolution. You even hear him say, like, I realize what I need to be now and going forward. And you're seeing the evolution where I think he's going to become, more of what we know, him to be. Here's my super hot take. I actually found that The Batman is a better Batman film than The Dark Knight.
Agreed.
This is why I think everybody loves The Dark Knight, because of Heath Ledger's Joker. Not because no one goes, oh, Christian Bale in The Dark Knight. That's why. Always Heath Ledger. The Batman story of Batman is actually better than the Nolan films. It just doesn't have this super iconic performance in it like, Heath Ledger's Joker, because that is still, to me, the top performance. I do think there's opportunity for, you can do a real world, Heart of Ice with Mr. Freeze. I do think they're going to do Court of Owls at some point. I know a lot of people would be really excited about that. I think you can do Hush. I think you can do a lot of the villains that necessarily like.
You're cutting out, Foggy.
I think that you can dive down into some of the Professor Pig. That's another one. He's a horror villain, and you can go down that horror route with him. Really, so I'm really excited. I hope they keep him away from like DCU. Like I don't want Superman with his Batman. Like do a Superman and Batman in a the DCU whatever, but keep this world kind of its own thing. Because I think they have a real opportunity to do something special with it. So that's my hot take.
So piggybacking off of that, I would say David Fincher is one of my favorite directors, and this was clearly a 70s catching a serial killer movie. A lot of dark, a lot of rain. I got those 7 vibes, and I think the cinematography, they did really good job on the cinematography. As Alex mentioned, he was only second year, so he's much more of a brawler at this point. So I'm sure you're going to see kind of elevation from that perspective, maybe on the martial arts side later. But overall, I think I really enjoyed it.
We need to bring up Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, though, because
she crushed it.
Listen, she was one of my first favorite comic book characters ever. I haven't brought her out lately, and I'm planning on to next year. But she is a very, very hard character to pull off, because whilst, yes, there's the surface level of this, mysterious, flirty, sexually liberated, tongue-in-cheek cat thief, there's a lot of layers to this character that we got to explore in this movie alone. And some of it was subtle, some of it was right in your face, such as her care for other women in Gotham. She's very big on protecting the ladies, especially like not human traffickers, excuse me, but like sex workers in Gotham. That's a huge thing, a part about her comics and everything. In addition to that, Zoe managed to capture this very alluring personality of Selena that we see more often than just the, oh, hi, Batman type. So that's what I just absolutely adored, seeing this Catwoman on screen.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the Penguin show, because I think they're going to go more into that like mob and see more of her. I think she's going to be in that.
I'm just ready for more ladies to come to Gotham. I'm ready to see sirens.
There you go.
I'm ready for
that
it.
cowl, though, man. That's the only thing with the movie that I could, if I had to pick something that I wasn't a fan of. That cowl was just not my favorite cowl of Batman.
I will agree. I'll second that. It wasn't my favorite cowl.
No,
either.
mine either. But it works on him.
Yeah,
it works on him.
This was an origin movie, so I think down the road it's going to get a lot better. I'm ready to see the animated movies cowl. That's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm like I said, there were things that's a lot of the stuff that you guys talked about are pieces of it, which I hope in a second film it talked about and addressed and all. And I get it, actually, yes, as a year one movie, having Batman be more anger than he is methodical, those things hit really well. That's what I'm saying. That's why a second viewing was what made me come around to it, because the first viewing, my first thought was I was thinking of Batman as currently versus Batman as, hey, this is actually his first year into it. The detective thing, I will say, the one thing actually I thought was funny, but also I feel like they tried to do, but actually I felt like it wasn't there yet. And again, it could be something fixed or something that it gets addressed in future movies. Is I felt like if he was a detective, he was actually Penguin hit it right on the nose in the movie. He's just like, well, you guys are the world's greatest detective. You can't even figure out that this word is the feminine for this word. And a lot of the movie, he gets spent, he's a great riddle answer. He answers riddles like nobody's business. But when it comes to investigation piece of it, that's the part that actually he's still, because a lot of the heavy lifting Alfred does. Alfred deciphers the thing.
Yeah.
So again, there are things actually that would be great to see in the evolution of that character. And again, not knocking anything away from this movie. It's the the things actually that felt derivative to me were what took me out of it. Like if they had just made a subtle change to add more of a fantasy element to it, and you can keep that man in his own island. But like let's get into the Joker. That is a 100% real world Joker. That is a guy who's been beat up, scarred, and whatever. And that to me is just like, I just want a freaking clown that has a freaking jacked up smile. I don't need him to have a new aesthetic.
It very much looked like Joe in the New 52. Joker's whole identity was this janitor named Joe, and he was wearing his old face. Like he had somehow face fell off, and he just reattached it with staples. That's what it looked like to me. But I'm like, where's like the cool, not Arkhamverse. And honestly, Arkhamverse would be great. Seeing that.
I tell you what, it's a shame that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the age difference. Just because of the tone, if you brought him in, oh my God, does it fit so damn good? I will say the one thing I've never seen, even in the comics, I don't think I recall him doing. But I was like, this is literally the greatest the contact that like records everything. I was like, that's a great idea. I was like, of course he would have that. Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
Anybody?
I boycotted the movie.
I knew you did. I knew you. I thought you did.
Whoa.
Yeah, I boycotted the movie. I'm tired of DC making Batman movies. I like. Can we get a Flash? Can we get a good Green Lantern? And I'm just like, and it doesn't even relate. And I know Foggy, you said you want it to be separate, but I'm just like, I'm tired of seeing a Batman movie.
I mean, we could get a Flash movie if somebody gets
somebody would get it together.
Stops having legal issues. Sure.
To go off what Kai said, one of the biggest things that they're like DC and a lot of movies are afraid to do is make something that is not as comprehensible as something like Batman. Like they just did this with Wonder Woman. Because magic is a very the whole magic side of things. This goes for any Wonder Woman stuff. This goes for any Dr. Fate stuff, anything like that. Even into dipping into Trigon and Raven and all that. It's a lot, and a lot of people are not used to that, and they just shy away from it. Same goes for the Green Lanterns. It's a bunch of space things that not a lot of the majority are going to want to go see.
I would counter that because we live in a culture that has Star Wars,
right?
And we have a culture that has Harry Potter
and the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So
I feel like that's something that I feel like they want to stay in a pocket. Studios want to stay in this pocket, and
let's call it what it is. Batman's the only character that is continuously hit every time they put him. Every Batman solo movie is done financially well.
No, and that's what I was gonna say.
And that's what it is.
Batman is DC's moneymaker. He's actually probably keeping the lights on over there. So I get it. I just I don't have to respect it.
Oh
no, agreed.
You picked the wrong. Of all the DC movies, the boycott, you picked the wrong.
You picked the wrong.
I'd be like, yo, you got.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Listening to you put it so beautifully. And then also her chiming in with the Catwoman side of it. I might watch it now that I don't have to actually pay for it.
I
might put my pride to the side, take my hoodie off, put my pride to the side, and watch it. But and and there's always a misconception with me because I am a Kryptonian all the way through and through.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I love Batman. I am
Mhm.
actually a Batman fan as well. I am just tired of the repeat. Like,
Oh, felt and
Well,
hold
that's
on to
see,
that.
that's why I like this one because it's not. Oh, we see his parents die in the alley again. Oh, this is how he becomes Batman again. This is like I said, this is year
It's a
one.
different kind
Long
of Batman.
This
Yeah.
is just
for sure.
you're getting Batman the whole time in a whole different light, and
But
that's what
this,
And I
it's
will,
so refreshing.
Batman stripped
I
and
will,
naked,
I did
girl.
appreciate that he was that was a dedication to this one. Is that he, unlike in other movies where the actors spend most of their time as Bruce Wayne, I will say that was what was reminiscent to me of a comic book, is that he spends
Yeah.
the majority of the movie as Batman. He doesn't
90% of the time.
Yeah, you only get little glimpses of Bruce Wayne
yeah.
in there, and even the Bruce Wayne that's there, again, it's a Bruce Wayne that is as his second, third year.
Yeah,
he's just
figuring
a
it
guy
out.
who's pissed. He's just like
Yeah.
there's no thought, there's no other. Hey, let me
Yeah.
go ahead and actually do more detective work, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like on the one
And he
hand,
even says that. He even
Yeah.
says, "I didn't know I was gonna have to be a detective like this." Like he
Yeah.
says that. Like, and he's learning how to do all this and I appreciate he's
Yeah.
not just like boom, like, oh, I'm the best at this. By the way, I'm the best at this, and I'm the
Yeah.
best at this, and I'm the best at this. Oh yeah, I can kick Superman's ass. Like, no, like he's got to learn these things over time. I
But the
appreciate
thing,
that
yeah.
they
But the
didn't
thing,
just do that. You know,
but the
I'm
thing is
just,
with
I'm just salty. I'm just
I
salty.
get it.
no, and like
Yeah.
no, and that's what I was gonna
because
say. I
because
You're
I'm just
fine.
like, man, they can't do. We ain't had a decent Superman movie since
I know.
Christopher Reeves, and I'm like, but we get a Batman movie every couple fucking years.
yeah, no, and I
and
agree with
Spider-Man
Kai.
and Spider-Man.
That too.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like
that's a whole different story. Marvel brought that full circle,
Yeah.
and I'm not mad at them.
But nah, I agree with Kai 100%. Like, we definitely need more because not only that, these movies, and especially like with how Marvel's been doing things, Marvel has been very diverse across all different stories, bringing in different cultures, and it's giving opportunities for real cultures and real people to be seen, heard, and to work. In addition to that, I don't think Kai thinks that the Batman is going to be a bad movie, but I do get her point and believe that, Kai, you need to hold on to that, like, hold on to that, like, passion you got for demanding more different movies. Because, like, listen, I think if Catwoman wasn't in this one and if they hadn't, advertised Catwoman the way they did, I don't think I would have been as interested because I already know who Batman is. But like as a woman myself and a lover of that character, it's like it's just another Batman movie. It's cool to watch, but there's nothing I can personally like take from it either.
And I feel like DC is just they're grasping at straws now. Like we got this random Joker movie that wasn't tied to anything. We got this random Batman movie that wasn't tied to anything. And it's not like y'all are executing the movies that you're releasing in the DCU. So it's just like, dang, pick a struggle.
See, that's the hard part is because both of those movies are like the two best box office movies are those two.
And that's why I say maybe they figured it out. Maybe that's what they need to do. They just need to keep everything separate. But Marvel has set the bar so high. Yeah. And then my expectation from DC, because when people ask me, and I'm still loyal, shame on
me. Who was saying that they wanted to see more of the Unreal in DC, more of the, you know what I mean? That both me. But DC I feel that's where Zach. I feel like that's where Zach was taking.
Yeah,
his Snyderverse too.
Zach was taking it. Yeah,
opening up to the dark side, Brainiac, all that kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see, Wonder Woman was doing that too.
I'm not mad at Zach, but my beef with DC, every character is not dark. You can't do every character dark.
True.
I'm tired. Like the sun didn't come out.
But I mean,
the sun don't come out in half these movies.
No, and see that's why I was
sepia. The word you're looking for is sepia tone. Okay.
But see, that's why I was so happy with Wonder Woman.
But I love the dark tone of the movie. I think that's just Zach. That's just Zach's style of
it. No, I get it, but there's the part they try to do the non-dark thing, and like the first Suicide Squad bombed. Wonder Woman 84 trash. What's some other one?
But hold on,
Wonder Woman 1 didn't have the sepia tone.
Wonder Woman 1, and that's what I was just about to say, and this is why I'm kind of pissed because at first I thought Patty Jenkins had just but now they're completely canning it, and my issue with that is Wonder Woman 1 had a perfect balance. It had a really good sense of realism, brought through lessons that Diana had to go through that also taught a lot of us, to let go of anger and whatnot. But then they got too comfortable with it, kind of like how Marvel's done, where they turn this next movie or the evolution of this character into just something to throw over your shoulder and not care about. And what I'm really upset with is that Wonder Woman was a perfect opportunity, not only for women in general, but to bring in more of the mystical and magical elements. We could have seen, you know, I'm glad they brought in Cheetah, but we could have seen Cersei, we could have seen Giganta involved. And it's just like, it either gets way too dark or it gets way too happy. And then before you know it, it's trashed. Like, and the thing is, Shazam is also doing great. I'm loving Shazam. Shazam all the way through.
Well,
I haven't seen Black Adam yet. So.
And that actually was going to be, I was going to say that's probably good, that's a good segment there, because that's actually a segue to Black Adam. But actually, before we jump into Black Adam, I was actually going to bring up something that I think Foggy and I would both appreciate about the Batman. It's the first movie where they've acknowledged mascara.
Yeah,
Just saying, that's a thing. That's a thing.
It's a thing.
I'm just saying.
No
you know
joke.
what?
True. He had
You don't
to
walk around and your eyes are
he had to get ready.
No, sir.
He had to get ready.
You got to do the raccoon. You got to do the raccoon.
Yeah.
Put that cowl on
Yeah.
for you to get the full
Got
effect.
to do that setting spray. It's good. It's no joke. It's great.
That's right. That's real. That's real.
That's some real stuff. I did appreciate that. I was like, oh, he went to Ulta too. Damn.
No, trust me, because like when I had to do Jake's makeup, listen, that was one of the most like the thing is you have to get that stuff pitch black, and like so many steps went into it. I was like, when I saw that, I was thinking about what home at last year. I was like, thank you. I feel seen now.
Yeah,
I feel like
appreciated.
Period.
So you guys want to talk about
Black Adam?
Tith
Got
Adam.
him right here.
I have not seen it yet, but I'm open to spoilers at this point because I got no other choice. I want to see it so bad. I've just been so damn busy. This looks like a good movie though. So
It was
Black
entertaining,
Adam-
man. It was entertaining.
Black Adam is
It's entertaining.
arguably, in my opinion,
Mhm.
I'll pop it off. Let me get spicy. Black Adam arguably is the best DC movie ever.
Wow.
No, I don't think
That is.
Wow.
It's in my top five. It's in my
You-
top five.
That
for
is
sure.
a
You
strong
threw like
statement.
all kinds of level of spice out there just now.
Wow.
Man
All
of
right,
Steel?
all right, but
No.
go
That is
on.
high
Yeah,
praise.
My opinion.
High praise. High praise. High
Ooh.
praise.
No, it's
And a lot of
in the top five for
The
sure.
argument on that is a lot of people say, I told you I was coming back to what Foggy said. A lot of people argue with me because they like, but what about The Dark Knight? The Dark Knight was good because of Heath Ledger. It wasn't good.
I
because-
agree. Yeah, I
So-
agree with that.
When we talk about DC movies executed about the character, Black Adam, 100%.
This is my only. Okay, I'll hot take back. I liked Black Adam. I thought it was fun. It was one of those like I don't need to see it again. I love Dr. Fate and Hawkman, especially. I thought they were fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing that there's an animated movie called Black Adam vs Superman and Shazam or whatever,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it was really, and what they did with the story was great, and I thought it was really fun. But I think the way they set the tone of what he was gonna be compared to what we got. I don't know if it like messed me up, but it was like, oh, the shift of blah blah. Like he ain't even a bad guy. Like he's a good dude. Like they made him a good dude. Like what?
Yeah.
What? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Well, I think that's
Was
it
he?
too.
He was killing
I'll
people.
say I'm not gonna call him a
God,
good
he was
dude.
killing people.
He's more of an anti-hero.
He's
I-
an anti-hero,
Would you
but I
call
get
him a villain?
I get
Like, would
I
you
get
call him a
Foggy's
villain?
point. Yeah, no, I get
I mean-
Foggy's point because who does he kill? But he kills a whole mess of
Well,
actually.
here's a couple
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
Middle of the thing, the world's gonna die. How come Superman didn't come for that? But then he comes at the end when he's just
But
standing there.
My
Like,
my
you know
main
what I mean?
issue with the movie is it takes place on Earth too. Like DC's all over the place, as Kai was saying.
Yeah.
They're on Earth too. They're in different universes. They're all over. They're not sticking to one thing and keeping it cohesive.
Everywhere.
One issue I had with this was Dr. Fate removed his helmet too
That
damn
too.
much for me. I
That
didn't
too,
like
yeah.
like that's not
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, that's not what he does.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Sorry.
like
No.
in the act of fighting. You know what I
But
mean?
you
Yeah.
got more Dr. Fate than you got of Naboo.
That Dr. Fate had the same issue that I think actually we have with what we talked about with Batman movies is that you spend a lot more time with his character instead of actually with Dr. Fate. And the worst part about actually Dr. Fate taking off his helmet as much is that if you know the character, and again, this doesn't have to be a discussion and getting
He's
all
OP.
into. I don't have to put my glasses on and push them up into the bridge of my nose or anything like that. But if you're doing that, you understand that Naboo doesn't go ahead and just be like, yeah, go ahead and take me off. You're cool.
Mhm.
No, when you put that helmet on, you're just like, no. Where are you going?
Yeah,
I'm in control right now. You sit back. And so that part of it was, I understand it. I get it, because from an actor perspective, if you're in the movie and you're trying to sell the movie, you want that actor's face around.
Yeah.
But it is, a lot of people need to take a page. In my opinion, a lot of people need to take a page from both the Batman and actually and also somebody who's been doing this actually a bit is Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. Deadpool in the movie, yeah, he has some scenes where he doesn't have his stuff on, but by and large, most of the movie, he's in full getup. He's in full like
he's hard to
mask and
look
everything.
at with his mask off.
I don't know. I think he's hot.
But no,
Even
but
with the mask
no,
on.
and Deadpool, his face is all
no
burnt.
one's going to a movie called Wade Wilson. We want Deadpool.
We want Deadpool, and exactly. So having that,
let's just say he did better at Deadpool than he did at Green Lantern.
That's true. That's true.
He should have never been Green Lantern.
No, he's too comical for that
what
role.
movie?
He
There
should
was
have never been Green
Green Lantern. There was a Green Lantern movie.
There's a Green Lantern movie?
I don't remember
Forget
that.
about
I
that.
don't remember that.
Huh.
Well, I'm pretty sure I had that removed surgically out
Yeah,
of my
I
brain.
think so
Not
too.
surgically.
I think so.
Lord.
But no, I think Black Adam was a good popcorn movie. That's
It
the
was
way
fun,
I walked out of it, like a good popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Similar to Foggy, I don't need to see it again. That one end credit scene.
That was
Obviously, that really was that movie. They did do a good job at leaving you, having the movie end and leaving you on a good positive note, because once I saw that end credit scene, spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't seen it, Henry Cavill coming out, I was just like,
which
that's it.
Then it's like
That's
he's
it.
still not on the fence about so personally my issue with Henry right now is like, if you are dressing up and you are doing these end credit scenes, stay committed to this role, because he's still up in the air whether or not he's going to return.
I
don't think Henry's up in the air. I think
Henry's not up in the air.
Exactly.
That's the studio.
He said
he's
I'm
up in the air.
The studio, the studio needs to get it together.
Well, the studio is the problem.
To be fair, they did hire 2 new people to come in and shake things up. You know what I mean? So that's their job, is to say, but to my point, what I was saying, like, as cool as that end credit scene was, the way they depict Black Adam, I was like, why the hell is Superman fighting him?
True.
Where's Shazam?
He did what he was going to do. He wanted to get whatever the name of that place was back and rule. Okay. So what are you fighting Superman for? What are you fighting Shazam for? You're not a bad guy. You're not a bad guy. I think actually they do what they did with Morbius. They did what they did with Venom. They nerf a anti-hero. He's supposed to be an anti-hero. And really, as much as The Rock was advocating this movie, had he killed, I'm not saying that you have to go as far as to kill civilians and children and stuff like that, but you got to make it where the person is just like, I don't care who you are, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I don't care. As long as my goals are met, that's actually what I'm going to do. And what they did was they nerfed him by basically making him the kills in this movie the body count that he racks up, by and large, is all mercenaries. It's all bad guys. So it's like, we want you to like
justified.
Yeah, he's just the Rock, and it's just the Rock. It's not even Black Adam,
But I don't know, I don't know the difference between the Earth 1 Black Adam and the Earth 2 Black Adam. So I don't know,
they need to follow the Namor route, because that's what Namor did in Wakanda Forever. It's like he's an anti-hero because even though he's a king that cares about his people, and we can respect that and everything that he's been through. But he was coming up and he said, bury your dead, mourn your losses, you're a queen now. Like, you just killed my mother.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what it is. He was the whole storyline with the little boy was
Shazam that we've seen that kills. I mean, the killing that I've seen him do is he'd be trying to kill Billy Madison, but it's with purpose. Like he has a purpose behind his killing.
Yeah,
like he doesn't kill without purpose.
I mean, I'm gonna have a hot take here for Kai. The argument can be had that Black Adam is a more heroic superhero than Superman, in this universe, because if you remember in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, I mean, Superman's body count is pretty horrendous.
Unhinged.
He just knocked buildings over, and at least Black Adam kept it in the pocket. It kept only just the.
But you know what? They never really talk about deaths by buildings. You know what I'm saying?
So that's what I don't think they've had an event like that though, because like in Marvel we had Civil War, which was
but that is pretty realistic. That would happen. I mean,
oh yeah,
no, that is, and actually that's the reason why.
But they never, you know, they always make Superman out to be, oh, he never kills, never kills,
not
and
in that movie.
They don't really talk about the building. You're thinking from a realistic standpoint, and I'm thinking from a comic.
Come on, that's a major metropolitan city, and you mean to tell me those buildings didn't have people in it?
I just wanted to see him fly around the globe and turn time back.
Yeah, you're thinking realistic, and they're not.
No, but there was such a backlash to it that in Batman v Superman, they make it a point when right before they're going to fight against Doomsday, let's call him Doomsday, that they go to the docks and they're like, "There's nobody in the docks. The docks are completely empty at night." They went out of their way to put
nobody's here.
Nobody's here in the docks. And it's just like, it's because they knew the collateral damage of that scene. And don't get me wrong, here's the thing. I'm one of the few people that will tell you I love Man of Steel. I thought actually for all the negatives that movie has, there was a lot of things I liked and I thought was very nuanced about it. But I also understand.
Podcast is stressing me out.
Oh Lord, poor Kai.
I'm sweating.
Hi, don't listen, man. I tell you like this, man. I respect everybody's decision on stuff, and I don't yuck anybody's yum. For me, I liked it. I liked Man of Steel.
I'm gonna tell you the other thing about the kid annoyed me.
I say the kid storyline was so stupid.
Oh my god!
That's what kept Black Adam the way he was in the movie. I felt that it kind of reminded him of his own son, right? Sure. That's why he didn't want to kill people. I feel like that kept him grounded.
Man, had they killed that kid in the movie, man, I would have been like, I would have been shocked and impressed and all in the same.
But to me, that's what I thought was what was gonna set him off to be like the villain. Is that would have actually made sense? It's like, okay, now he's pissed. Now you have a reason to kill people.
Yeah, kill the kid. Yeah, that would have been the good choice. And I also didn't like. I know why The Rock did it this way, because I read an article that he had pushed for Shazam not to be in the movie. That was another piece that I was just like, that's something that is similar to my issue with Venom and Spider-Man.
I'm ready to see Billy Batson. Yeah, I'm ready to see them fight.
I don't like the Shazam. I don't know. I don't like Shazam.
I don't. Here's the thing: is that you don't have. He doesn't have to be throughout the movie. Just give me a cameo, man. That's all I want. It's just a cameo.
Yeah. At the end of the day, he is Shazam's main villain. Like
exactly. That is talking about arch nemesis. That's your arch nemesis, and you're not even. He's not even nowhere near the movie. Not to mention at the end of Shazam, when he actually in the first movie, they're sitting actually at the Rock of Eternity, and there's all the seats, and there's one seat open. That's the seat that belongs to freaking Black Adam. And you mean to tell me that in the next movie, you were able to get Hansu. You were able to get Hansu back to play the wizard for at least a couple of scenes. Come on, man.
Man, I imagine if you replace that end scene. Imagine if you replace the end scene with Superman and you put Zachary there. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have that same impact.
I would have been screaming.
Like I personally don't like Zachary as Shazam. I don't think he fits that role. I don't think he fits the role. Like when I see him, because I don't like him as Shazam. Just to be honest.
I would have liked to see. I'll be honest. I would have liked to have seen John Cena in that role. I mean, I don't have.
Biased, but like,
he would have killed it. No, he actually would have done all right.
Stop. You're losing. Listen, you're losing your credibility.
Look here. No, hey, first of all, no. Here's the reason why.
Kurt Angle.
John Cena is John Cena has very good comedic.
No, yeah, he's pretty.
He has good comedic timing.
No, if John Cena,
somebody that actually is a child. Come on, man. I think that actually.
But I mean, like
John Cena has the role that he deserves.
How old is Zachary?
You can't take that from Peacemaker.
He's getting up there in age. He's
and exactly. So Peacemaker, exactly my point. You see how well he does in Peacemaker.
Okay,
Yes,
but
and that role is made for him. Not.
But I mean, Shazam is supposed to transform from like a 12, 13-year-old to like a late 20s, maybe early 30s. But it seems like he's transforming into like a 50-year-old.
You know,
Shazam is
that's true.
That's what I see when I see the movie. I'm like, he doesn't look like this is not from the comic.
I think he was 28 when they casted him, but the movie ain't come out for like 21 years because they take forever. So
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
No, I will say not so much in the actor. I think actually when Zach turned that's the one thing I will say in the movie that I feel like he needed to tone a little bit in his thing is that the teenager.
So y'all are saying they should have casted somebody younger than Zachary Levi.
No. I don't have a problem with Zachary Levi.
I
just think actually his acting choice when he transforms into Shazam, like when you're watching the teenager acts like a teenager.
Yeah.
When he transforms into Shazam,
he acts
like a preteen, and I'm like, no, like you're making jokes about going into somewhere and buying beer and all this other stuff. I'm like, a preteen would do those things, and like the joke, like you're acting like a child.
Yeah, the look doesn't match the acting to me.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
But we also got to understand that's like one of Billy Batson's like biggest struggles in comics and the old cartoon TV shows was the fact that here you are appearing as this grown man, and at times you act like a grown man, but at your core you're still a child. And because this is the Shazam 1 was an origins movie as to how Billy Batson, who wasn't even a teenager at that point, he was supposed to be like 12, I guess 13, which is a young teenager, I guess.
Yeah,
it's the origins. And this next movie, already in the trailers, we're seeing Shazam himself, as Zachary Levi, be a little bit more serious compared to being like, ooh, let me go sneak in and buy some beer or something. Because again, I know if I was 13 years old and all of a sudden I'm turning into a 6-foot, woman with like gorgeous looks, I'd be trying to go get some beer myself at first.
I don't think it's that. It's just he like de-ages when he turns into Shazam. Like
he
Billy's more mature.
Yeah.
It's that excitement though. It's that excitement of like, holy crap, I have something I've never dealt with before. I'm gonna just be.
But it would be about being a superhero, not about getting beer.
Bro, but like what I think is like Shazam at one point was Superman's greatest like enemy in terms of comics, like in terms of sales. Like to do him like that and to do him like that in the movie, it just feels like off to me.
But again, you guys gotta understand, like,
I don't know, man.
It's gonna get more serious. It's gonna get more serious because the thing is, he was a kid, and like they even explored this when he was like, shooting off lightning bolts and taking selfies for $50 on top of the Rocky steps. You know what I mean? It's a matter of him discovering his priorities and his responsibilities, which he has no sense of or care for at the very beginning, which we're going to probably see more of an evolution in the second movie. So have faith.
And that's the point I'm trying to make is actually, I don't disagree any of those points with you, but I think then the choice should have been that the actor who plays Billy Batson should have been a couple of years younger to reflect that mental part of his life. And that's the thing. When you're looking at the kid who's playing Billy Batson,
I see.
And you see his emotional arc, there's no point where he's acting that childish as Billy Batson.
Right.
If anything else, he has a very
dark.
Yeah. He has a very mature story arc about finding his mom and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Yes, he pulls off a couple of immature pranks when he like steals the cop car and stuff like that. But by and large, he's a lot more mature. But then when Zachary Levi comes in and is playing, Billy Batson, Shazam with the mind of Billy Batson, he regresses from being like 15 down to a 11-year-old, and that 11-year-old, like it's like watching Big.
But in all honesty, I'd probably do the same thing if I was 13 and I was given such powers.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you would go. It's kind of like winning $1 million at, you know what I mean? A young age.
Yeah.
You're gonna go crazy.
It is. But like I said, he ain't coming back anyway because the whole DCU is getting scrammed. So
that's what should we move on to Marvel?
All right. You know what? Let's move on to a movie that was, too jokey for me, in my opinion. I think should have been a little bit darker. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, that was the best movie.
Oh, I forgot.
That's my favorite movie on the list.
Yeah,
that was my favorite movie on the list.
So what I'm hearing is anybody that's saying it's a good movie is trying to meet me in the parking lot. Okay.
No, that's my movie. My My popcorn ended up being extra salty after the movie, just for my tears.
Here's the thing: I'm very
Ooh.
easily entertained when it comes to movies. I go to the movie theaters for movies. I enjoy it. It is what it is. I think for this one, it was just. I mean, it was. I was going in not like I already knowing this is probably not going to be like Ragnarok, which Ragnarok was fucking amazing. I loved it.
It was.
But I just went in, thinking this is another Thor movie, and I just think they really took this into another direction of like as far as I have a very like odd sense of humor, and just none of the jokes got me in there. It was just I think that it was just I don't know. It was a very what's the word? It was bad. It was silly.
It was too
silly,
like the whole like I was a huge fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? That was clear. The whole split thing that was Roundhouse. That was clear. Yeah, we're gonna make fun of Jean-Claude Van Damme, basically.
Yeah. They also like the goats. Like it was cool the first 2 times.
The goats were
I got
hilarious.
so tired.
Each time I'm like, yo,
gosh.
stop.
That's what I was
Did
looking
Taika
for. It was very
direct this?
forced.
Yeah,
Taika
They
did
had
direct
that
this one, yeah.
same joke
There's the
like,
problem.
over and over again, and it was very forced. Like with
That's-
the hammer of like getting jealous of like the axe and or vice versa.
Stormbreaker.
And it was just like what the it was
Listen.
back to back, and it was like okay,
That
like,
was
this is
that
maybe
was
funny
probably
like the
one of
first
the
time,
funniest
but
moments in the movie, though. I'm not gonna lie, that got me. I was laughing.
What I hated about this, and again, Taika, I have an issue with Taika at this point because Ragnarok was cool, but you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. At some point, it almost just became like the watching the movie itself knew it was just being on crack
I
at
felt
this
like I
point.
was watching a spoof.
Yeah.
Like it was a spoof.
Honestly,
movie.
and that sucks because it deals with such critical situations.
This
This is our first time seeing Jane Foster, well, not even just Jane Foster, but this is the first time we've seen a Marvel character go through cancer, which is a very serious matter, and I felt like it was touched on upon a little bit, but it was just and then in addition to that, gore in the comics is terrifying. He doesn't just do this for his daughter, right? And I hate that Marvel does this. They don't actually give us the only villain that I've ever seen is Killmonger. Now hear me out, because even though they killed him off in Wakanda Forever, when that man came back, they didn't change anything to him. He told Shuri straight up, go out of vengeance. But with Gore, who is also like that, he's like, just kill everything just cuz at this point. They made him soppy. They made him something that you can relate to and sympathize with. And they're doing that so often with a lot of characters. They're either killing them off or they're making them too soft and they're nerfing them at their core. And it's just, man, Thor, Lord.
You got to sell toys, man. You got to sell toys. That's the way it works.
Let
Man.
me give all the kids my power
I'm not,
and let's fight this army. Like,
I could see Deadpool
by the
doing
way,
something
you
like
couldn't have
that.
done that. You could have done that for every Avenger when you were fighting Thanos.
Infinity War, right? I'm gonna just give you all the powers of Thor and Wakanda, and let's go wreck.
So for me, Thor, I mean, it's to echo everything that everyone else has said. There were jokes that ran too long and too frequent. There was never an establishment of and even though we as comic books know, the lore of Stormbreaker and the lore of Mjolnir, it's having it introduced as now they're sentient and they're also the Stormbreaker is a jealous, like, the gag is funny. Don't get me wrong. It is funny the first time. Chuckle the second time. Third time, okay. Fourth, fifth, okay. We get it. It's they're playing it as if the Stormbreaker is almost like an angry girlfriend. There were gags that just didn't need to be there. And similar actually to Blackbeard, I enjoyed Ragnarok quite a bit. And actually, I felt like that one had a good balance of humor and it had a good balance of action. This one was it was slapstick. It was a slapstick movie through and through and through and through. And you took a villain like Gore the God Butcher, who is, supposed to be, I mean, nothing that Christian Bale did wrong. I think he actually did a phenomenal job.
He did.
The look was
but
great.
He's not in the right movie. The character is not in the right movie.
Right.
This was a comedy, and they took a character that was a very like
Yeah.
psychotic, hey, I'm gonna kill you, and they put him in a movie that's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
I felt like I was
Stop
watching two
nightmares.
different
Yeah.
movies when I would
Yeah.
see Gore's part and then see Thor's part, and
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah,
it being the same movie just didn't mesh
Yeah.
well.
yeah,
Thor
it's kind of
Thor has gone through so many extremes from his original, like, you know, because you look
Yeah.
at Thor 1 and he's just like this serious guy, and then Thor 2 was the movie flopped, and then Thor 3
I love
Thor
Dark World.
3 Ragnarok, they got it just right, and then this one they went too far, like
Yeah.
the thing too, it sucks with a lot of what Marvel's been doing is the use of taking some of your, I mean, call it from a comic book perspective, they don't have A-list like a bunch of A-list characters that a lot of people know pre Marvel Universe, but two of the ones that they had that had somewhat a recognizable name were Hulk and Thor, and they've both become like jobbers basically. Like they're just jokes now.
This was the point that I was making at the very beginning of the podcast, because the whole reason why they've done this to both Thor and Bruce is because they're just wanting money at this point. They do not
Yeah.
give a damn about these characters, and it
Yeah,
hurts
yeah.
my heart. And when it's difficult, because they're gonna start making the same mistakes DC is doing, because when they realize, oh shit, we've screwed up here, they're gonna try and rework stuff and everything, and it's just gonna get too sloppy and too confusing to understand. I mean,
I mean, I tell you what, man, like it makes me. What they do is they water down the stuff that they could make that could
Oh, yeah.
really be like. You can't tell me you can't make like when they get brought in. You do a rated R Hulk versus Wolverine movie, like that animated movie, but now Hulk's is a joke. So like, good luck
and
with
Wolverine's
that.
dead. So, I
And
mean, we don't know that.
well,
We don't know
and
that.
Wolverine's probably going to be a big wuss bag too, because Thor and Hulk are so Thing. He's going to be a joke. Wolverine's going to be a joke. Like every dark character you have, you turn into a joke. So
And there's
You
also
got
missing
you got to sell toys,
opportunities.
bro.
There's also missing opportunities. Like, we are never gonna see Tony Stark, Hank Pym, Reed Richards, Charles Xavier, Bruce Banner, all in the same room together. I'm so sad with that, but that is a conversation for another
I
day.
mean, it's funny actually. So using that term "jobbers" actually is probably the closest approximation to that. And the reality is, I think like in the case of Thor, I think Thor, they were able to keep Chris Hemsworth in the role because I feel like his sensitivity seemed to be as an actor more comedic. He wants to do
Yeah.
action, but I think actually he likes doing comedy.
Mhm.
With Hulk,
And that's great.
yeah.
I mean, no, go
But-
on.
No, but I was gonna say, and with Hulk, I mean, let's call it what it is. It's the same. They still don't have, Marvel doesn't have the full distribution rights to
Yeah.
the Hulk. Universal still does. So really and truly, that is the difference. I mean, all they can do is use them in parts. So it'd be great to say, yeah, we can go ahead and actually, obviously, they're going to introduce Red Hulk now in Captain America, so they could potentially have the Hulk, his character change, but ultimately, until they get those rights from Universal, all he can be is a side character. And the best you can do with a side character is maybe a sideline. And it'd be great to say, yeah, let's go ahead and give him a grandiose role in this other movie, but
it's not even. Sorry.
It's hard to do that when they don't own the rights. I just found out the other day that they don't own the film distribution to Namor either, and I'm salty about that.
But the problem is like, even though you don't have the full rights to a character, that doesn't give you the right to change the essence, the character choices of this character, even though he's still a small character, which is not the problem. I'm okay with Bruce being there.
Yeah, same.
But it's not Bruce. That's not Hulk. That's not anything. And that's the other issue I have. The new Captain America movie, yes, Sam Wilson as Captain America just got his debut in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that was his origins. This Captain America movie, I'm about to be pissed the hell off with, because this was supposed to be for Sam, for Captain America. Now they're using this as a last-minute resort to introduce the Hulk mythos and fix the Hulk mythos. And I'm like, I find that unfair, even though finally we're getting some Hulk content. We're taking away from the new Captain America, which I just find incredibly unfair, in my opinion. But I have hope, because we're getting the leader back, and we're getting Red Hulk, and I'm hoping Jen's now in here, and I'm hoping to see, maybe we'll see A-Bomb, Rick Jones. But man, my blood pressure right now. What they done to my boy Bruce and Thor. I don't want to see it anymore.
You see the thing with DC, which I kind of like. and I is that they actually use the mythologies. I don't like to call them mythologies, but the religions of the Greek gods,
right?
Yeah.
For Superman and all of them.
I'll-
Marvel
I'll-
actually has a Norse god.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you bring it down to Love and Thunder. And like to me, it's like disrespectful to that whole religion.
Oh yeah.
I will say,
I think like Man of Steel. I would take Man of Steel over any.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be
Ragnarok,
like Zeus,
other
right?
than Ragnarok and maybe Captain America: Winter Soldier. I would take over any Marvel solo movie.
yeah.
Period. Easy.
Wow.
Easy.
That is heavy.
Wow.
I'm the Superman fan in this
No,
room,
yeah.
and
No, I agree.
I
I agree with you, bro.
Wow.
I agree with you.
Hey, at least when you see, at least that's Superman.
Exactly. I agree with you on
True.
that one. Yeah.
But
Wait, you talking about Man of Steel?
That is my favorite DC movie.
That's
I mean,
it.
That is my favorite
Don't get me
Marvel
wrong.
movie.
I love
my
Man of
favorite
Steel,
movie of
but
all time. Yeah.
I've heard many of arguments because I'm constantly having to defend Man of Steel.
Bro,
Many
that
people
fight
are
scene,
just
that
like-
fight scene reminded me of Dragon Ball Z for sure.
But I've had many people
That
actually.
was
Their
good,
argument
I
is
think.
that's not Superman because Superman is obviously not as dour and not as self-doubting, and one of the other pain points for a lot of people is that Pa Kent isn't as
Shucks. Good boy,
so-
son.
yeah,
No.
exactly. Like he's more, and that was one of the things I loved about that movie was the fact that to me that interpretation, Kevin Costner's interpretation of Pa Kent was of a real dad. That
Yeah, like dude, if
situation-
he was a real Superman, how would you really react?
Yeah, how
Like,
would you
that's
as a
the whole-
father,
that's
how would
the
you
point.
react? But there were a lot
Yeah.
of people that were like, oh no, he's
Yeah.
too, like when he says, when he asked him what was I supposed to do to let him die, and he says, I don't know. That's not a Pa Kent
Yeah.
thing. I'm like,
I
really?
feel like
That's a regular
If you
dad
saw
thing.
a Superman now, and they did him like saving a cat out of a tree, people be like, "Come on now, like show us some
Yeah.
stuff." You know,
Facts.
that's what Man of Steel is. It's saying,
yeah.
we understand this
People
is
are never
a
happy, man.
real
You're never content.
Superman. I know Kai probably going nuts over
You got
there.
the Blue Boy Scout. When you got the Blue Boy Scout, you complain he's too much of a, and then when you get
I'm just
realistic
thinking
Superman,
of
complain about.
MCU solo movies right now going through my head. That's all.
Yeah.
Plain
Yeah.
Listen, my phone is about to die, so I might disappear. I am itching to talk about Wakanda
Okay, let's
forever.
go. Yeah, let's go.
let's-
we can do kind of.
Well, let-
We need that's
More hot
that's
takes.
something we all got to talk about because
Let's
listen,
move on.
whew,
Wakanda forever.
who wants to open this
It's
up?
heavy. It was.
This,
All right,
yeah, this was.
I'll do it because I got hot takes.
Take it,
I
Bob.
came out. I came out of the movie. Performance wise, I think it might be like across the board might be the best performances I've seen out of any MCU movie. Especially Angela Bassett. I thought she
Oh, Miss
was
Bassett.
unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Well, you were crying at the end. Just you can admit that.
The
I-
end credit
I was.
scene.
I know I was.
Yeah, I definitely.
I
did.
wore a
Yeah.
mascara,
cried
and that was
all
a
Yeah.
I was about to
mistake.
say throughout the movie. At the
The
end.
end credit scene,
My
probably
boy
my
said-
favorite in all Marvel.
Yeah, that got me.
See, hot
This
take.
is where
I
I would-
hate the end credit scene. And
Really?
hear me out.
Here we go. I hate Shuri as Black Panther.
Oh.
I hate Shuri as Black Panther.
I'm looking.
Go.
I'm looking at Kai. I'm looking at Kai right now.
No, but let's get into that though. She wasn't really Black Panther. She was for a minute, but she put the mantle down and realized that she was more of a doctor than a warrior, and I think that's where it kind of my take on the movie like actually got even better because she realized that she cannot carry on what
Well, here's,
Chadwick did.
well, here, nah,
Did
here's,
she put it down?
no,
Did put the
no, she
mantle down?
didn't. So here's the thing.
No.
At the end,
No.
at
No,
the
she didn't. She
end,
didn't. No.
M'Baku ended up
Hold up.
taking over because the thing is, as Black Panther, and this happens in the comics too. Mind you, Black Panther is one of my favorite characters of all time. I've been in love, but the thing is, when you are Black Panther, you are also the ruler of Wakanda, and there's a thing that this movie did that was interesting. It's divided and separated the ruler of Wakanda and the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Shuri is not queen. And when Namor says that to her, you don't see her acknowledge anything. You don't see any of the Dora Milaje, addressing her as queen. There's nothing to do with that because she is focusing solely on being the Black Panther. And that's why we see at the end M'Baku showing up at the ceremony. And he's the only one there, saying I've challenged for the throne. But at the same time, M'Baku went through a good journey in this where he's realizing the responsibility he has to take now.
Can I give you what really the thing is?
Mm.
And this is my point. The real of that is that's because if Shuri showed up without that Black Panther, she'd get her ass kicked by anybody who would show up. Because
True.
what that plant doesn't make you know how to fight. It just enhances your ability. So she's smart. She's the girl in the chair. She's a genius. She's not a warrior. So for her to take up the Black Panther mantle literally makes no sense. It should have been literally anybody else. Like, you can't pick literally any of the two strong female characters.
I'll be honest. My choice would have been Lupita. Lupita would have been my choice.
Me too. And she literally saved her.
Yeah.
Like, dude, she literally is the one teaching you how to kick ass. How is she not the Black Panther?
And they said that they considered making her or M'Baku, but they went with Letitia Wright instead. But Lupita would have been my choice.
The movie was beautiful, though. Outside of that, I thought the movie was great. I thought Namor was great. I just didn't like her as Black Panther.
But the only reason why I like Letitia as Black Panther is because she represents where I come from. So I like that. But yeah, so it's a little bit of representation for me, and
her performance was great.
But I don't understand how she just you know just took the plans and then was able to fight Namor. I don't understand someone who's been around for centuries.
So
with all this,
when we go back and think, no, hold on. Let's go back and think.
I understand.
No. Let's go back and think.
Order in the court.
Namor was washing her. Namor was washing her. She was not really. As far as fighting,
but she can't win, man.
No, but she was getting the business. She was getting the business.
She was fighting a weakened Namor, and then she also was getting waxed by a weakened Namor.
Yeah, but the thing is, as Jake said, you know, she's a scientist. If it weren't for that tech that dehydrated Namor, she would have stood no chance. But I will say, piggybacking off of Anthony up there, this movie did something beyond just a superhero movie. It wasn't just because Chadwick passed away, God rest his soul. But this movie was colossal because you have two communities represented for the first time on a scale like this that have been having lack of representation and have gone through years and centuries of oppression. In addition to this is a predominantly female-led movie. So for these, not only these characters and these actors to have opportunity to be brought into the spotlight, you're having all these storytellers, filmmakers in the background too, and unknown actors and unknown filmmakers come in and have opportunity to, you know, show light as to what they can do and where they come from and who they are. And to me, that's what was important to me about this movie. I honestly, the nitpicks that I had with it were very few, but I threw those to the side because the amount of care, consideration, and love that went into this movie, not just for these characters, but for the people watching it and for the people who made it, is what mattered to me the most. And getting to see that and how it affected the movie theater and, you know, the people around me was just really inspiring. That's why I love this movie so much.
I think it was extremely genuine too, though, just because of obviously what happened. I think everyone's like, emotions on it was at an all-time high. They couldn't
actually see their emotions. Yeah, you can see it on the
it's very genuine in it. And
it was
they couldn't plan this. No one could have planned this kind of this movie, and they had one shot to not fuck it up. Excuse my language. And they did it. They did it.
I bet we all got hyped for about 2 seconds when we thought Michael B. Killmonger was about to come back. I for about 10 seconds I was like,
I was so mad when he got killed in the first. I was like, I hope Namor saved him in the ocean when he got dumped. Like, I was trying to think of any reason
like a
how he could have been brought back.
The thing is, I'm kind of glad they kept him dead, because the thing is, they would have nerfed him, and that's why when he showed up, I was happy he showed up, because I was happy that they kept him at his core essence. He did not change. He did not go, listen, cousin, I've had a change of heart. You know, I'm gonna tell you what I think your brother would tell you. Nah, your man's literally went, hey, pull up your pants, go kill some people, take back your title. Like, none of this. And that's why I'm glad they even did that in the What If episode. And that What If episode with him joining up with Tony Stark, I was like, that shit shook me to my core. I was like, that's a villain to be scared of. So I'm glad they did not bring him back, because they would have messed him up.
I agree. I'm okay with them killing him off because
I mean, it sucks they killed him off.
To me, he died in the best way. Like that
Oh,
last line.
No, that was dope.
From the last line to just how.
Tell me if he wouldn't have came back and fought Namor, you wouldn't have been like, oh shit.
But you see,
like, you
even with Namor,
mind.
Even with Namor, I started getting scared because the thing is, finally, Namor was coming to the screen, and like the change that they made to Namor, because Namor's been thrown around in the comics. There's been no coherent like story with him. The changes that and I'm not like always big for the changes that the MCU makes, but them, making him from the Mayan descent and the turning it into this whole like
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
was
that was really cool. But the thing is, they started scaring me a little bit because they started making Namor a little soft, and now Namor in the comics is like this super serious, douchebaggy, like just stick up the butt type character.
But I think the reason they went the direction that they did, because to me, they didn't make him soft at all.
No, but the thing is, that's what I was saying. At first they made me think, oh my God, here they go. They're doing this again. They're making another character sympathetic and soft. But then at the end, it came out and I was like,
yeah, because really what he was trying to do, he was trying to form an alliance.
Oh yeah.
So it's like he was like, okay, let me show you around. This is what I want to do. I want to burn the world down.
Exactly.
There wasn't nothing soft about that.
Oh yeah.
But it's crazy because
I'm gonna show you. He's like, no, I'm gonna show you this beautiful place, and this is what I gotta protect. So you gonna burn the world down with me? Like, you with me? Or you against me?
Yeah. So, what's crazy with him is like back in I don't know a while back, outside of Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, he was Marvel's big hero. Like he was the biggest hero they had outside. So it's funny to see how, and I think that's part of why they kind of because. Hero at some point, like the softness is coming regardless of how they use it or when, but I think they needed to keep that fine line of he's the villain right now, but
it's going to come through with Sue Storm. It's going to come through with Sue Storm when the Fantastic Four comes through. But the thing is,
maybe not for that, but
the thing is,
I think to what Foggy is trying to say is that every character eventually gets a little nerfed a little bit. Like if you were making
where did this word derive from? Nerf.
I don't know. We came up with it on spot.
Nerfed. You ever play with a Nerf gun?
Yeah.
Not a real bullet. Yeah.
It don't hurt, does it? When you get hit with those little bullets, it don't hurt.
Sometimes it can.
Sometimes it can. But it's not gonna hurt like a real bullet. Is what I mean.
Okay. You know what? You need to
think about Loki,
trademark
right?
that.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not mine. That's. But anyway, but they will go ahead and probably eventually soften that character, and because the reality is that it'd be great to say, hey, you can have a anti-hero that has no redeeming qualities or anything like that. But the problem is that unfortunately you always have to pick up an angle from a storyline, from a storytelling perspective, where an entry point where people can sympathize and empathize. That's the reason why even characters like, for example, like John Wick, perfect example.
Yeah.
John Wick, if you're looking at the movie, what does he start off with? He's an assassin.
Yeah.
So basically, he has a job where he's killing people. No remorse, no whatever. He's killing people. What's your entry point with him? He has a wife that dies. Leaves the dog. They kill the dog, and now he's going after these bad guys. Yeah. Regardless of the fact that he's shooting people, I've actually had this thought when I've watched his movies, and not that it takes away any enjoyment from me, but he's killing all of these quote unquote bad guys, and I said to myself, how many of these guys are just jobbers, just basically there? I'm just trying to pick up a paycheck. I'm just trying to be security over here. That's all I'm doing. And I'm getting popped in the head. My kids ain't going to ever see me again because the Baba Yaga came in and was
that's the thing. With Namor,
they need to choose their job
and for Namor too. Again, back 95% of the people who saw that movie had no idea who Namor was before the movie.
Yeah,
they never heard of that character.
Namor is the perfect case to have him as that anti-hero with sympathy. He's not a villain. He's a king trying to do what's right. It just ain't as ethical as we'd like it to be. That's why we consider him, and that's the reason why at first I was like, because at the end, him and Shuri come riding back on that plane, and I'm like, wait, why are you making, no, I was like, no. But then when he was talking to Namora, I was like, there he is. there he is. There's that, Namor that I'm used to seeing. Because the thing is, Namor, in a sense, is a hero. He is a king trying to take care of his people. But at the same time, he is very much, it's my way or no way. And if you get in my way, fuck around and find out.
And that's the reason why I think, again, even with those character traits, you still have to have an entry point with any of those characters, because if not, then all you have is a villain. So if you don't want to have a pure villain, you have to actually have it. You have to try to soften those edges. Now, here's the hot take I was going to say about Wakanda Forever. It did not have the resonate. It didn't resonate with me as much. The performances were amazing. I've actually stood up at night trying to figure out why exactly it didn't connect with me, and it wasn't that it was that I didn't enjoy the movie or that it wasn't a phenomenal movie. I just, for whatever reason, there was something that didn't connect. The funeral scene at the beginning, beautiful. It was amazing. And the end scene was nicely crafted, beautiful again, but it just, for whatever reason, it didn't strike that chord with me.
You know what? I did the same. The further I've been away from it, the more I've been I walked out of it away, and the more I'm eh.
You want to know why? You want to know why?
It's the middle. It's the middle.
Well, you want to know. You want to know why? Because a lot of people are overlooking the third aspect of the movie. Because you got one Wakanda, you got two Atlantis or Talokan, but everybody looks over this third part of the movie, which raises a lot of stakes and which has captivated our interest for years. Y'all don't realize that Hydra's here in the government, and the government was the one that plotted between. It was, De Fontaine who stole that work from Riri Williams, put it in the oceans, and got Namor's attention. But then they blamed it on the Wakanda, or let the Wakandans take the fall for it. There's a bigger picture here that we're not seeing, because a lot of us are going in just to see the Wakandans again and their stories and everything, and then of course the new Telecons or the Teleconils. But we got this whole dark government operation going down that's pinpointing everybody against each other, and everyone keeps overlooking that. And everyone keeps,
I thought that was dope. That's not my issue at all.
Actually, it's funny. I had the opposite effect. I thought that was actually too much. I felt like that took away and derived from a story that there were scenes with Martin Freeman and scenes with De Fontaine that I was just sort of like, why is this here? Why couldn't this, whatever this is, live somewhere else on some other show?
Because it's directly affecting two countries and plotting them against each other for gain.
And I get that, but
it may be a good setup for the next one.
It could be a setup, but it could lead to nowhere. And Lord knows we know there's
a lot of
very well could lead to
going.
Marvel is always playing chess.
I see. Basically, she's using him, right?
Well,
what other character could she get close to that she could use for her purposes, right?
I think they're positioning her to be actually a player in it, but is it that specifically? I don't know. I mean, because I think actually there's with the direction in which it seems at least that they're going actually with a lot of this can go anywhere. All of this can go anywhere. I'm not putting a lot of
I mean, let's call it what it is too. They're in the same. They're in a very similar, even though it's being tossed. They're in a very similar situation as DC is right now, because they just got put into Bob Iger brought in the back. They've already announced they're reassessing.
But y'all, you gotta hear me out for a second. This movie specifically, Wakanda Forever, and this character, De Fontaine, she is Madam Hydra. Nobody knows a lot about that, but the thing is, the reason why she has such a big stake in this movie and why this is such a big deal that keeps getting looked over, and why a lot of people don't understand, why couldn't this part of the movie be separated into something else, is because she's trying to destabilize two big countries that could be two big threats. You see what I mean?
They established the movie she doesn't know about.
One she doesn't know about. Yeah,
she doesn't know about.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. I think take what you know about the comic books and put it on the side for a little bit.
Yeah, that's
remember the MCU does this half the time. You have your idea of this is it, and they go in a completely different direction. That's the reason why I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to place her more in a position of being I feel like this phase overall from what I've seen from the beginning of this phase all the way through, is that their focus has been, your heroes are not what you think they are.
Yeah.
And they are flawed, and they are not, even though at the end of the last phase you had this grandiose coming together and everybody, this new phase seems to be like all these heroes are bullshit. And here's the reason why. And I think actually that's where she's going to play into it. That's the reason why I think it's going to be critical she's going to be a critical piece in things like the new Captain America and Thunderbolts. I think that's going to be her role, is to basically work against the heroes in the sense of like bringing them down a peg.
Using from what she's also, and again, this is just using specifically stuff from the MCU, and in the TV shows, using from the end of Black Widow to the Winter Soldier, now to her involvement in this. I feel as if she is going to have a very, very big part in trying to. Pause. Let me rewind. I feel like she is going to flip the tables, because the thing is, she's not just shown up in, and again, she's the head of CIA right now, which is a big deal, which means she knows a lot of stuff that we don't, and the characters don't either. Who's to say that, she was not only just looking for vibranium, but other things? Because back in like the days where Iron Man was being recruited, and this could be a far stretch that I'm making, there was a pinpoint in the Bermuda that was a hint at, Namor, was a hint at Atlantis. So who's to say that she already knew that, the Atlanteans were around. And because again, like we even see that happen too. She makes I can't ever remember his name, Elliot. She makes Elliot think, oh, I don't have any idea what's going on, but Elliot knows that he's been in contact with the Wakandans, but the entire time she's already known that he's been in contact with the Wakandans. I feel like she's being very sneaky right now, and that she is setting up something big. And that was very prevalent within this movie. It was more bold than we've seen before.
Can I interrupt briefly?
Yeah.
So I just saw this tweet by James Gunn. Said they got the DC slate ready to go.
Yep.
And among those is Superman. And the initial stages, the story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman, which will not be played by Henry Cavill.
Yeah, they're scrapping everybody. They're scrapping everybody.
Okay. What are they doing with Wonder Woman? That's all I care about at this point.
Flip
going, bro.
Flip the table, bro.
Yo,
Flip the table.
Scrap some Amber Heard up in there, though.
Look at Kai. Kai, you need to burn that sweater now, man.
This is the thing too. Like,
I think we need to go over to the Marvel side.
As much as you want, as much as I like a lot of these people, if you getting rid of one, you got to get rid of them all, or else it's gonna get so confusing for the.
It already is confusing.
Exactly.
He's talking about having Ben Affleck direct something. I don't know what movie that's gonna be.
Listen, I don't care if we recast Wonder Woman. I just want Wonder Woman lore back. I want the Wonder Woman mythos back. That's all I care about. I want the Amazons back. That's it.
But to me, Henry is Superman. I don't know who are you gonna get?
Somebody younger.
You know what?
Nicolas
you know what
Cage.
though? Let's hold it. Before
Stop.
Man of Steel, we didn't know who Henry Cavill was. There's somebody. There'll be somebody.
True. I mean, I guess that feels like such a waste. My gosh,
I know.
That's disappointing. That is
the saddest part is he's such a perfect Superman to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is like, but he's never
aesthetically.
But what I was gonna say, every movie he's been in as Superman has underperformed, every single one across the table.
That's not his fault though.
No,
it might be a little bit.
Oh hell
to
no.
Me,
no.
Henry Cavill doesn't have a personality. I'll be the first to say it. Like,
what?
Stop it.
You want a hot take?
He's the perfect, like that Witcher role that he played. Perfect. That's perfect for him.
I've been saying this. Tell me he wouldn't be a great Batman. Take away that you don't think he's Superman now. He'd be great.
Hold
Batman.
on.
Henry Cavill does not have a personality.
Like, be a great Batman.
Neither does Bruce Wayne. It's perfect.
I don't know about that, man. That's a hot take.
On that note, y'all, I'm gonna have to go because I got 1% left. It was lovely getting to talk to y'all and get to, Kai really getting to really talk to you.
How about that for a hot take?
I'm gonna leave before Kai
I'll see you this weekend.
Everybody. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for having me on. It was really a pleasure.
I'm on 10 right now, so I'll see you this weekend.
See you guys. Bye. Bye.
I'm about to go.
Chris, you just ruined my night, man. I just wanted to go to bed. I could have heard that tomorrow.
Oh, which one?
Dang.
Me?
No,
No,
Chris.
what I just told him. What the
That
news I
Superman
just
news just
said.
ruined my night.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go to work tomorrow. I'm depressed today.
I already knew that was coming because it's DC. Stop. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still loyal to DC to the death of me. When people ask me Marvel over DC, I'm gonna always say DC, because I am the biggest Superman fan. But I can talk on and on and on about the failed attempts at Superman, and I understand that Batman is the moneymaker, and because Batman movies have actually been good, and we've actually gotten to see Batman be his authentic self. And I can only recall one movie where we got to see Superman be his authentic self. Zack Snyder did a great job, with his take, but
Yeah.
we never really they nerfed the fuck out of Superman. I finally got to use it. I finally got to use it. They
You used it in the wrong sentence. No,
they
Wait,
nerfed the hell.
This is
out of
wait, whoa, 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 whoa.
It's a lot of woes.
So they wait, what?
They nerfed the hell out of Superman. Most definitely.
How do they nerf Super? I mean, I feel like that's maybe
in every way.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Oh no, soften him up. Yes, soften him up, water him down.
I mean, my guy could sneeze the whole solar system, so.
Yeah, I feel part of the problem with Superman is of all the on either side, he's the hardest to create a story that is both audiences can relate to it, and then also make the stakes high enough where it makes sense for Superman, because he can whoop everyone's ass so easy.
That's why we haven't gotten a Superman video game yet.
To me, exactly. You couldn't do an Arkham Superman game because one punch, everyone's dead. Like you're done. Like, to me, if they were smart, they'd do a Brainiac movie or I mean, they've already done Doomsday.
I mean,
Battle, yeah.
Battle World would be the way I would go.
Do the button. Bring Dr. Manhattan in. Watch that fight go down.
There is a multitude of stories that they can tell.
There is. I'm just saying it's hard.
DC walks around like this. Like they can only see one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But
I don't care I don't care what they do, but I mean they should keep the Snyderverse on HBO Max.
Well, direct everything to James Gunn, because he's writing this next movie.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I am both. That breaks my heart, man. And the worst part about it is actually that they made, obviously it's I mean, there's good news for you, Blackbeard, because apparently also in some of the rumors he wants to shift Momoa from Aquaman to Lobo.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Superman versus Lobo.
He slipped up in one of his interviews. So yeah, hopefully that
So you got some Lobo in your future, bro?
Shit, man. If I get jacked enough, maybe. Homeboy's
jacked right now. You're fine.
Oh, stop it.
You can do it. I believe in you, man. I believe in you.
Yeah, next year you're gonna see me and be like, yo, what's up?
He's gonna be walking around like this, like
do it.
He can't even put his arms down. Like he's gonna be like, I can't put my arms down, bro.
Yeah, I love y'all. I've actually put my phone's about to die too, so I'm gonna catch you guys later. Thanks a lot for having me.
I got a pack for
yeah, let's wrap it up. I'm about to go home and
pack
myself.
Hope you guys have fun.
This was a lot of fun, man.
Thank you, everyone, man. We should do this again.
Thank you for stressing me out.